It's the heart-stopping video the whole country is talking about. A defendant taking a flying leap and attacking a judge. Today, that defendant was scheduled to be back in court to face additional charges, but at the last minute came a major change in plans.
The out-of-control defendant who made a flying leap over the bench refused to appear in court today. Our Stacey Galandi is at the courthouse.
Officials tell Inside Edition that the defendant flat out refused to make the walk through the tunnel system that links the courthouse to the jail where he's being held. There's another hearing scheduled for next Tuesday.
I think everybody would agree he's definitely a threat. I mean, I've been doing this for over 4 decades. I've seen fights in the courtrooms. I've seen outbursts, but this was one of a kind.
The drama began yesterday as 30-year-old Deobra Redden was being sentenced after pleading guilty to attempted battery. At first, he sounds reasonable as he asks for a break.
I feel that, I shouldn't be, sent to prison.
Then the judge notes his long criminal history, including convictions for robberies and battery.
Got a lot going on, sir.
I'm in a better place in my life.
The judge isn't buying his plea for probation.
But I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history.
That's when chaos erupts. Look at that leap. Redden goes flying right over the bench. Court officers in the Las Vegas courtroom pounce. The judge is somewhere under the bench trying to protect herself from his blows. 4 minutes later, as the court officer nurses a head injury, Judge Mary Kay Holthus reappears, clearly reeling from the attack. Redden's foster mother was in court when he lost it. In an exclusive interview with Inside Edition today, Karen Springer says Redden was off his meds.
What he did, no shape, form, or fashion do I condone it. You know, I was just as heartbreaking and shocked as anyone else. But like he told me, he just snapped.
Redden's outburst is just the latest instance of violence aimed at judges. We spoke to TV judge Glenda Hatchett.
It really is very disturbing that someone would just snap like that. And it could have easily been a lot worse.
The judge wasn't badly hurt, but a called officer was taken to the hospital.
Well, last night, remember, we showed you this shocking video of a 3-time felon attacking a Las Vegas judge. Well, he was hit with new criminal charges today. We have the new details from CBS's Carter Evans.
Shocking courtroom video from Las Vegas shows the moment 30-year-old Deobra Redden leaps over the bench, tackling Judge Mary Kay Holthus. Redden is a 3-time felon, in court this time for sentencing after pleading guilty to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm. Redden was not in custody at the time, and moments before the attack, he calmly asked the judge for probation.
I feel like I shouldn't be sent to prison, but if it's appropriate for you, then you have to do what you have to do.
But the judge said probation wasn't working.
But I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada.
Redden tackled the judge to the ground before being wrestled off her. Judge Holthus was injured but not hospitalized. A courtroom marshal was treated at a hospital for his injuries. Redden is in jail now, facing multiple new charges, including battery on a protected person. He's due back in court next week. Carter Evans, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Back here in the U.S. on the harrowing scene in a Las Vegas courtroom, a defendant lunging at the judge who had just sentenced him. Here's Kana Whitworth.
This is the moment a defendant who had just been sentenced attacked a Las Vegas judge. And tonight, that man is now behind bars, facing over a dozen charges, including extortion and battery.
Hey, I'm good. Are you all right? I just smashed my head into the wall.
Deobra Redden appearing in court Wednesday. A repeat offender, he had pled guilty to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm. The 30-year-old telling Judge Mary Kay Holthus he didn't think he deserved another trip to prison.
I feel that, I shouldn't be, sent to prison for a second time.
The judge reminding Redden of his lengthy criminal record.
3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on, sir.
Redden saying he was working to turn his life around, but Judge Holthus denying his request for probation.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
Redden then leaping over the bench, landing on top of the judge and brawling with court officers and attorneys. Minutes later, Judge Holthus standing up.
She's shaken up, as most people would be. A couple of bruises, but I'm very, very happy that she's okay.
And David, a court-martial was also injured in that attack. Redden refusing to show up to court today to face these additional charges. He has another hearing set for next week. David.
Kena Whitworth, we're just glad she's okay tonight. Kena, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
After that brutal attack in a Las Vegas courtroom, officials providing a highly anticipated update on Judge Mary Kay Holthus.
Judge Holthus was injured and received medical attention. She remains sore and stiff, but thankful it was not more severe.
Judge Holthus releasing a statement thanking well-wishers, writing, "I am extremely grateful to those who took brave action during the attack." The shocking incident captured on courtroom cameras playing out as the seasoned judge was sentencing 30-year-old Deobra Redden to prison for attempted battery. The defendant, who has a history of violent assaults, jumping over the bench, tackling her to the ground, and sending a court-martial to the hospital. The terrifying episode calling into question security procedures in our nation's courts.
How common is it to have attacks or threats like this in a courtroom?
Attacks like this, these emotional, impromptu acts of violence occur probably daily in courtrooms across the country.
Like this incident in Mississippi, a suspect caught on video throwing things at the judge. But Las Vegas officials say they've never seen anything like this.
There's plenty of instances where somebody is, becomes rowdy in the courtroom. And this is the first one I've seen where somebody supermaned over the judicial bench.
Redden faces multiple new felony charges of battery, including battery against a protected person, meaning the judge and her court staff. According to court records, he refused to appear in court Thursday to face those new charges. Clark County's district attorney says the court is now reviewing its security protocols.
Redden's reaction happened so quickly, I don't know if anything could have been done to prevent him from what he did.
Now, according to those court records, Redden is set to return to court on Tuesday. Judge Holthus is still planning to oversee that hearing where she's going to sentence Redden for his initial crime. The court does plan to add another court-martial for extra safety. And we did reach out to Redden's lawyers, but they're not commenting, Craig.
All right. Glad that judge is okay. Liz Courts for us. Liz, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.
Well, some dramatic new video this afternoon of a man trying to attack a Las Vegas judge.
Assignment editor Mike Rogers at the desk now. And Mike, this was all over a sentence the judge was about to hand down, right?
Yeah, Amy and Juan, this is a very dramatic video, and it's just new into the newsroom here now. This person was in court for attempted battery, and during the court proceedings, the man lunges over the desk to the judge. Take a look at the video. Really incredible stuff. That goes on for quite some time as they try to get the man under control. His name is Deborah Redden. He's a 3-time felon. He was in this Judge Mary Kay Holthus's courtroom for sentencing on that charge of attempted battery with substantial bodily harm. This all happened around 11 a.m. After she said something, he clearly didn't like what she had to say, lunges over his podium and onto hers to try to attack her. Now, a marshal was injured in this incident, but luckily nobody else was. That judge is okay, but very scary moments there in the courtroom today.
And it happened so fast, too, Mike. Yeah. Wow. All right, thanks.
Video footage from inside a Nevada courtroom captured the dramatic moment a defendant lunged at a Las Vegas judge during sentencing. The violent attack unfolding moments after he tried to convince her he had left behind his violent past. CTV's Joy Malbin on the bloody brawl at the bench.
It started off relatively calm. 30-year-old Deobra Redden said he was trying to leave his violent past behind, pleading not to be sent back to prison.
I feel like I should be given a shot.
But taking a look at his rap sheet, Nevada Judge Mary Kay Holthus was having none of it.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else.
Before she could finish in a shocking scene, he took a flying leap, lunging at the judge, landing on top of her, smashing the judge against the wall until sheriffs, deputies, and court clerks wrestled him to the ground. All of it caught on courtroom video.
She hit her head.
A terrifying attack that seemed to come out of nowhere. The judge shaken up and a marshal was sent to hospital. The chief judge says he's never seen anything like it.
As far as I know, it's never happened before with somebody supermaning over a judicial bench. My message to the other judges is that we're going to do everything we can to make this a safe place.
The video seen by millions on social media raising concerns about security in courts. Such attacks tend to be rare, say experts. In 2021, there were more than 4,500 threats towards judges in America. A few months ago, a Maryland Circuit Court judge was shot in front of his own home after ruling against a man in a child custody case. And in 2020, a man targeted New Jersey Judge Esther Salas, shooting her husband and killing her only child, 20-year-old Daniel. Congress passed a law in his name protecting judges' personal information online.
I'm hoping will happen now is that we will expand these protections nationwide. This is a matter of life or death.
The Las Vegas court says they're reviewing security. Redden wasn't handcuffed at the time of this attack.
The judge was back at work today and will sentence Redden next week. He faces multiple new charges and up to 10 years in prison, Omar.
All right, Joy, thanks.
By now, you may have seen this viral video out of a courtroom in Clark County, Nevada, Las Vegas. The video needs no introduction. Take a look.
He gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
All right, that right there, her name, District Court Judge in Clark County, Mary Kay Holthus. You see her falling back from her seat against a wall as this defendant, his name, Deborah Redden, flung himself over the judge's bench and grabbed her hair, toppling an American flag onto them. The judge suffered some injuries but was not hospitalized. That defendant was jailed on a $54,000 bail and refused to return to court today on new charges. So a judge rescheduled his next appearance for January the 9th. He's 30 years old. He now faces 13 counts, including extortion and coercion with force. 7 of the new counts are battery on a protected person. That's referring to the judge and officers who came to her aid. Right now, we want to bring into the conversation a representative with our Nevada judges, Alexander Franconi. He joins us with the latest. He's been kind of monitoring all the reaction to this as well. Alexander, thanks so much for being with us here. I guess first, before we get into some of our questions, what was your reaction when you first saw this video? Can you believe this happened to a district court judge there, any judge for that matter?
No, I mean, I've heard, and I've even had a camera in a courtroom that we captured, an occasion like this in high definition, but I've never quite seen an attack like this. To me, it was shocking because of how especially violent it was. So it's, in my eyes, an unprecedented attack, and it was very upsetting to observe.
I also want to kind of get into as well, I mean, do you have any updates on how the judge is doing? We know she wasn't hospitalized, but do you know people who know her? Maybe you know her. How is she holding up?
So the court information officer, Mary Ann Price of the 8th Judicial District, did release a statement indicating that they were monitoring her. There was a press conference that we were at that we broadcast live where a statement was read where she expressed her appreciation at the words of encouragement and support. I think her marshal is significantly more injured due to a serious head wound. There were some photographs floating around on social media. But this is not a particular judge that I have a lot of contact with. When I do have contact with judges, it's at arm's length. I mean, the Our Nevada Judges Corporation is a nonprofit organization separate from the courts, and out of respect for their role, I don't get too close to them. So I'm aware of her. She ran in an election that I covered, and to that extent, I do know about her, and I was upset that she was attacked.
Yeah, let's talk more, though, about the judge, too. I mean, she seems to have served in Clark County for a really long time. And so she appears from this video to have seen this suspect before, right?
You mean when he was charging at her, or as in multiple different cases?
In multiple instances, it seemed like there was some type of recognizance or familiarity that the judge had with the suspect, with Redden.
Well, that would probably surprise me. There's a lot of judges in the 8th Judicial District. They have more judges in District 8 than they have in the rest of the state combined, when we're talking about the district court anyway. But perhaps she had several hearings with the same defendant. That's actually a relatively common thing. We've covered a lot of trials, over 650 hearings, and it's not unusual for one case to go in front of the same judge 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, especially in Clark County. They hold hearings a lot more often in the 8th Judicial District than the other districts. So if you're asking about that she had familiarity with this particular defendant, that wouldn't surprise me in the sense of just the case that she was sitting on, just having seen him multiple times. But I didn't check to see if she presided over any of the other cases. I understand that he has some significant background, but I didn't check into that.
Yeah, and of course, this is such an unfortunate thing. If you were, a district court judge, a federal judge, sometimes you do face threats against your life, against your family and friends as well, because of the position you hold. This one there in the moment turned so violent. And I was just kind of curious as well, what did you make of the response of kind of everyone kind of watching this happen? It seemed like it was so quick, so sudden there. And then, of course, more and more people came to the aid of the judge and the marshal there as well. Did you think the response was adequate?
Well, I can actually answer that in two different ways, personally and objectively. So there was, as I mentioned, one that we were filming on high definition. That was the state of Nevada versus Michael McDonald sometime in 2019 that I was personally at. And when this kind of stuff happens, or at least when it happened for, when I was there, your instinct, at least my instinct, was that this is going to be stopped very quickly. And the situation in the courtroom there was pretty much the same. Everyone kind of was froze, because it's like, okay, this defendant is acting out. Probably within 3, 4, 5 seconds, they're going to put a stop to it, but they couldn't. They couldn't stop that defendant either. And it took them. They had to call for assistance. Several other marshals came in to subdue the individual. And I also mentioned I would answer the question objectively. There is in my opinion, having filmed so many different judges in so many different judicial districts, the marshal culture in all of the other judicial districts is quite different. And so objectively, I do not think that this would have happened, say, for example, in the 2nd Judicial District Court, just for the fact that they just have more marshals.
Oh, I see.
And it's not that I'm intending to disparage the 8th Judicial District Court. I care very much about all of the judges in the state. I just can tell, because I've been in so many different districts, that there's a stark difference. And I think that if the 8th Judicial District Court had more resources, they would put those resources to use. My hunch is that it's just an issue of resources, financial support. And the chief judge, Jerry Weiss, is, in my opinion, a good leader. I think that if he was given the resources he needed, he would use those resources to ramp up security, training, etc. So that's my observation is, compared to the other judicial districts, especially to the 2nd Judicial District Court, the response does not surprise me, and I don't think that would have happened in some of the other judicial districts. And this is just sort of a matter of fact tone that I mentioned that to you, that you can make a difference depending on the culture, the martial culture, the financial resources available to the district and stuff like that. It does matter. And I think that the chief judge is, as he expressed at the press conference, he's looking into more resources. And I think that will definitely make a difference. There's a lot of room for improvement in that judicial district.
Yeah, I was going to ask just about whether or not you think that for this particular judicial district, whether or not more resources for security, not only, for the judge, but, others in the courtroom as well. We talk about the response, and just from a personal perspective, watching this, I've watched this now like 20, 25 times. it took them it seemed like it took them quite a while to subdue this suspect. It was kind of like a slow motion disaster happening in front of us. And maybe that's why, there were several people just around there. You see this gentleman,
right.
They just didn't know what to do, how they could help. Of course, they probably wanted to help, but to your point, it's kind of like they were just frozen in place there out of shock, maybe, because it is so stunning. I mean, we don't see this every day.
I think it's the assumption. I think it's the assumption a defendant is acting out and they're going to put a stop to it very quickly. That's what I think it is. And when that doesn't happen, I think people's brains freeze.
Yeah.
Because what you expected to occur did not occur. Now what do you do? A lot of people expect that the protection of the court is in some ways super powerful. And those are just ordinary human beings. Those are just four or five, it's upsetting, I think, because our expectation is not consistent with reality.
Yeah.
And so I'm not surprised that a lot of people froze up just based on my personal reaction when it happened when I was there in 2019. I was kind of the same. I was like, what's going on? Why is it taking so long to take care of the situation?
Yeah, Alexander, just lastly here, you don't think this is going to embolden more defendants to act out? Do you think this was just kind of a one-off, fluke, horrible situation, or do you worry that more defendants might feel emboldened after this?
I don't really know how I feel about that.
Okay.
I mean, having done 650 hearings, only one situation that went out of control.
Sure.
That I don't think that is going to change. Maybe it will, but I think a lot of people are not inclined, maybe not even just for self-preservation issues in the physical sense, but just because they don't want to get more tacked onto their sentence.
Sure.
I do understand that other judicial districts actually deal with difficult defendants in different ways. I think the 11th Judicial District Court has stun belts that they put on certain defendants. I don't know. I mean, there's tools that are available that they could use if that was a serious concern. So, I mean, I really don't know what to tell you about that. I don't think that video is going to embolden people, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Oh, well, we do appreciate kind of your insight, your expertise and experience coming on here live now from Fox. Alexander Falcone, thanks so much. Talk soon.
Thank you.